Symbolism is cool. Like, I like to draw things sometimes, and it's cool to draw things that symbolize things, to draw symbols. Like, it's cool to draw like trees and nature and people, and sit back and look at the drawing. And symbolism is cool because symbolism of something, it's a way to kind of tap into the essence of whatever is being symbolized by whatever was used to symbolize it. But it will never be the real thing. Symbolism is still just symbolism. And the true essence of something is much more authentic, much more pure, and much more real than any amount of symbolism. And you can apply that to anything. So that could be the internet, that could be technology, like watching movies and watching YouTube videos. Like, all of this is symbology. It's not the real thing. Like, you're not actually here with me in this moment. You're going to be watching this from my perspective in the future, blah blah blah. You get the point. But so it kind of becomes like the telephone game, where the true essence starts to get distorted and it starts to get lost. And you just can't really know what's real until you experience what's real for yourself. And so don't get lost in symbolism and symbology. You want to experience the real thing. You want the true essence of something. You don't want to just be following a religion that's like a couple hundred years old, even a religion that's thousands of years old. Like, you don't really want to follow anything unless your teacher is somebody that you can like actually talk to, like in real time, and really experience their true essence. Unless that's the case, it becomes the telephone game. Things will be distorted, and mistakes and misinterpretations will always be made. So in spiritual practicing getting in touch with your spirit, or just in touch with spirit in general, with the spirit of anything, and aligning with something that you feel like is a part of you, or that you could become a part of, just because it's something that resonates, and it's what your heart is calling you to, or something like that. I don't know. I'm trying to put this into words. And when you're doing practices, you want to use the least amount of symbology and symbolism as possible, because you don't want to distort things too much. You want the least amount of misunderstandings, because you don't want to confuse yourself. You don't want to confuse your spirit. You want you want to really experience things for yourself so you can gain like real wisdom, so you can gain like real growth that can like actually be applied to anything, that you can actually apply to yourself and your actual life, like your actual reality. So things like mantras, a lot of mantras, especially in languages like Sanskrit, they're not symbolic of anything. The actual sounds and like all the vibrations and stuff, like it corresponds to specific energies within your own body, and thus also things that are external in the universe, and you can interact with things cosmically and like universally with things like mantras. And the English language is just... The English language is very confusing. It's not... I don't need to talk about that too much. If you know, you know. English is kind of a stupid language. It was put together in a really weird way. Maybe I can talk about that another time. But that's why things like Sanskrit mantras and things like that, you can really get the true essence of like a real practice from things like mantras. And then you got things like crystals. As long as you're sure that the crystals are like real and not plastic, and you make sure that you know that for sure, there's ways that you can test it and examine the crystals to make sure. There's lots of information on the web, you can figure that out. But crystals, you can really get the real essence of things from things like crystals. So things like mantras, crystals, things like going to places, like going to like a graveyard during Halloween when you're trying to make transitions, things like going out into actual nature and breathing the air and walking around. You get the real essence of something, and you get the real essence of life when you do that. You get the real essence of seeing and hearing animals and actually interacting with them yourself in real time. So I just want to encourage people to get off the internet more, because I know that a lot of people are just on the internet and watching spiritual videos and learning stuff, but you can only learn so much by word of mouth over something that's virtual. It really does become the telephone game. So don't just sit there and listen to like a nature video of like animals and birds chirping and stuff. Like, actually get outside and just go and like actually experience it. It's way more worth it. You will get a way better feeling from it. Like, you'll really feel alive. You'll really feel like a life essence from it, and it'll be worth it. Um, it's cool to research and maybe even meet and talk with people about like their experiences with certain practices, and then giving out like reviews of this did this for me, I experienced this from this ritual, these were the benefits that I found. Like all of that is cool, but like all of that is just their personal experience based off of like who they are and what they do and their own energy. So there's only like so much that you can learn from tapping into other people's knowings and other people's understandings of things. You have to come to your own knowing, and you have to come to your own understandings of what things are, and the only way to do that is to really experience it for yourself, to actually go and buy the crystal and wear it and meditate on it and like spend time with it and like actually chant the mantras yourself, to actually get the ritual items and do the rituals yourself. And you'll see that from all of these things, from all of these different practices and stuff, there is no one set rules of the benefits that will come of them. It's like the benefits are literally infinite, and it's going to be different for everybody, and the entire, like, it's almost as if the entire meaning of what these things are can change. That's why you can't just use symbolism, because the essence of things are infinite and always changing and evolving and growing. And when you just symbolize something, it's like you're trapping it into a very limited form where it can't really expand like it's naturally supposed to. So even like a video like this, I'm trapping myself, my spirit, in a video, and now it's like I'm limited. But like I'm not this person in this video. I'm going to be an entirely different person probably by the time I'm done making this video, because I'm probably going to have learned something somehow or something by the time I'm done. So crystals are cool, but you know, crystals aren't the only items out there that you can just like hold and wear. Like there's all kinds of things, like obviously meteorites, that's technically the same thing as crystals though, but things like relics and like fossilized items, like anything that's like ancient and like skulls of certain, like if you can get like something like a scorpion, if you can find like a scorpion that's been placed in resin, like a real scorpion, things like that, that's not symbolism. That was like the actual body of like a scorpion. And you know, find things that resonate with you, find things that you really feel like the life essence, the life force within you is calling you to, and that you really want to like vibrationally vibe out with, because things like that, it can protect you and like help guide you. So there's all kinds of cool stuff out there, and I think we all need to get, I mean for me, I'm trying to get away from anything that was written by a human, anything that was like, that could be kind of like the telephone game kind of thing, because I want to get to the real essence of things. I want to get down to business. I don't want to be robbed of my own energy for somebody else's whatever. And that's what matters. What matters is that you really get to have your slice of the cake. You really get to have your own actual experience instead of living through the experience and words and stories of others. You have to embrace the mystery. Mystery is my story. Mystery. So it's talking about you. Like, you have no idea where it is that you could go next. You have no idea the potentials and the possibilities, as long as you're open to it, as long as you're open to the mystery. And that's when you can like actually experience life, and things can like really get real and really get interesting and fun. So that's basically mysticism. That's what mystics are. People who embrace the mystery and really get down to the actual essence of things. So if you're into magic and you want to do magic and you really want to experience like real magic, you're gonna have to start off by finding what really, like, where the magic actually is for yourself. Like, you're gonna have to really experience and find magic for yourself, and nobody really can help you do that except for you. And this entire video, I guess, is the best guide to actually getting to the true essence of things, and really finding where and what, finding out for yourself like what real magic really is. Get away from anything that's fake. Don't eat anything that is like not the real thing. Like, don't eat an artificial anything. Don't eat like the vegan ice cream, the vegan hamburgers. Like, you're way better off just like actually eating a real hamburger. It'll be like way more good for you, because anything that's like grown in a lab is just so like so foreign to anything that humans like have ever naturally been putting in their bodies. And it really does take away from what real life and what real magic is, which is found out in nature, not inside of a lab with like chemicals and whatever, you know. You gotta really find life. You gotta really experience life, and you can't just live through technology and like anything artificial, vaccines, medicine. Like, real medicine is things like just taking a break. Like, you don't really even need medicine most of the time. Sometimes you just really need to take a break from something. Like, don't eat for a few days. Take a time out and just like rest for a while. Like things like that. That's real medicine. This is real medicine right here. actually like finding real magic and finding real life. This is the best medicine. This is going to do way more healing and way more like it's going to give you way more rejuvenation and relief than really like any painkiller or any Advil. Like if you have a headache, instead of taking a pill, maybe just actually walk out in nature. Just go for a walk for a while. You might find that it just magically disappears. Don't let the internet, don't let anything, don't let the words of others, don't let books, don't let anything written deceive you. Don't let anything convince you that there is more magic and life to be found inside of a book or inside of the story of somebody else or inside of the internet, because there absolutely will never possibly be more magic in that than actual than the actual essence of something beyond symbology. Like even with things like junk food and candy and stuff like that, it's not natural. It's taken away from the real essence of things, like what sugar even actually is. Like you might call that sugar, but it's not real sugar. And it's like the more that you eat of it, the more that you lose touch and even the ability to tap into and really touch the real essence of like what real sugar is in like an actual apple or like a lemon. And but when you stop all this things like junk food, fast food, and you really get to the real essence of what sugar really is, you'll see that you get full way faster from things like that, and you get way more actual satisfaction because you're not being deceived when you eat an actual apple. When you eat a donut, you might think that you like the donut, but you're really being like deceived. Like there's a part of you that just feels more and more deprived, like with every donut, with every cookie that you eat, because it's not real, it's fake, and it's just loaded with fakeness, and it's like loaded with deception, and it takes away from your ability to really find like real magic, to really experience like the true essence of really being as alive as you possibly can. So it's a nice thing to really be alive and really take care of yourself, and to really know what it means to actually feel good and to like actually experience something, instead of walking around being numb, walking around in constant seeking, being deceived, thinking that you want something that isn't even real, that is hiding treasure from you that really does belong to you. Um, like with the drugs. I mean, just like everything we just talked about, all of that was a drug. The internet's a drug. Relying on the words of others, that's a drug. But like any type of drug, like cigarettes. Imagine you didn't need to smoke a cigarette to feel that relaxation that you get from the cigarette. Imagine that you could just like actually just breathe, and like breathing feels like 10 times better than any cigarette could ever make you feel. Imagine just that being your everyday life, because that is possible. And it just takes really bringing yourself back to life and getting out of that numb death state where you're being deceived by the cigarettes that want to convince you that that's what relaxation is. That's not relaxation. That's numbing yourself. That's death. That's cutting off your ability to actually experience truth, and to actually experience something that is real. And if you're allowing yourself to just go into deception like that and not ever actually experience something real, then you're not the one who's in the driver's seat. You're not really in control of yourself. You're not really owning yourself, and therefore you can't even really claim that you are yourself. It's nice when everything that you have in your life isn't a need. Imagine that you never had needs, that all your needs were just always fulfilled, and that you had the freedom to just want things, and everything in your life was just something that you want. Imagine that. Imagine having that freedom. Imagine that because you don't have any needs, whatever money that you do have, you don't actually have to spend it on anything. And anything that you really want, because you really just want it, because you want the experience of it, and you want to really experience the actual essence of it, imagine that you had the money to actually just go and get that thing, because you cut off everything that was setting you back, everything that was deceiving you and convincing you was a need. Because there's just a lot of excess and a lot of things that just are really not needed. And when you cut those things out, you actually get more of the essence of what you're truly seeking and truly looking for, whether you're aware of it or not. And it's just about becoming aware of that. And the only way to become aware of that is taking a break from everything. I don't care what it is. Take a break from every single thing that you can think of, and take a longer break from it every time that you decide to come back to it, and you will start to see and be able to distinguish what is real and what isn't real, what's a deception, what's just symbolism, and what is the true essence of something. Nine times out of 10, it's probably not going to kill you. And if you're not sure if it's going to kill you or not, well, do you want freedom enough to really just find out for yourself if that thing will kill you or not? And how do you know that there even actually is anything, that there is really such thing as death? Like, have you ever actually experienced death for yourself? Do you remember any of your past lives? Like, you've seen people die, but have you actually died? I mean, if you want freedom as bad as I want, as much freedom as I can possibly have, I mean, you should be curious enough to take a break from things to really find out if taking a break from it is actually going to kill you or not. There's only one way to find out. So, the choice is yours. If you don't know where to start, the best place to start is just with you. Just take a break from everything all at once, like right now. If you don't know where to start, literally just stop. All right, just stop. Maybe take a break from using your eyes. Maybe take a break from breathing. Just hold your breath. Just take a break from focusing on any one thing. Take a break from trying to do anything, and just allow yourself to come forth. And you might find that there is way more life in you than you thought, and you might realize that you have been and are actually like more dead than you might think that you are, and that there's a lot more life that is within you than you might be aware. A lot more energy, a lot more power, a lot more wisdom than you might think you have, a lot more talent, a lot more abilities. So instead of experiencing yourself through the reflections of others and the reflections of what people say to you and the compliments and the validation that you get, instead of experiencing yourself through looking in the mirror or whatever, the feedback that whatever gives you, maybe just experience yourself just for yourself. And the only way to do that is to take a break from having anything that is an external influence. So that's basically what meditation is, summed up. Neptune's Owl, I'm out.